Good morning, Roman. Working on a mini update. Actually, it's going to be a big update. So, you had hand carried a new distributor, which is this part right here, down to Belize, and the guys told you it was the wrong part. And I remember you being there, and it looked like the wrong part. There is an adapter that goes on the distributor, and that's why when they pulled the distributor out, they saw the adapter on the old one, and they made them think that they had the wrong part. And actually, the adapter just slides off, and you put the new adapter on. So I was able to put your electronic ignition on, no additional cost. You paid like $700 for this distributor 3 or 4 years ago. We tried to return it, but since we didn't have the original box, they wouldn't take it back. So we called Mallory, and we actually got them to send us an original box. But then when we sent it back, they said, "Oh, well, there's a little bit of surface rust on it," which I'm sure came from the salt air in Belize, and so they still wouldn't take it back. So we held on to it and held on to it and held on to it. And when your engine got here, I was able to see why it wasn't working. Okay, so that's one thing that's kind of held up the process. The other thing is clearly, if you're looking at your old exhaust manifolds, and I look inside those, clearly there was salt water in them, and there's not supposed to be salt water in them. They're supposed to run the freshwater cooling, the antifreeze water. So what we determined probably happened is one of these gaskets right here, you got salt water on this side in the elbows, and that's why the elbows completely rusted out. And your exhaust manifolds, as it turns out, rusted out also. And that may be the source of water in the salt water in the engine and what caused the problem with the engine. That could be it. But at any rate, so there's gaskets here, and there's typically just one gasket. And when purchasing the gaskets, we found out from the supplier that people have complained that they blow out and water can get from this side to this side. And so what we did is we made aluminum plates. I say we handmade them. I mean, it really wasn't all that difficult with our machinery over here at our fuel tank shop. And so we made these plates, and there's no hole right here. There was holes in the gasket, or no hole in the gasket either, but the gasket is just fiber, so it apparently blew out. So there's no hole in here. So what we did is we put a plate in here, so it is totally separated by an aluminum plate. We made 2 extra aluminum plates in case they would corrode, but so that those can be checked each year. These can be checked each year. It's one of the ongoing maintenance items that you asked about. I only have oil in the engine, and I've got some water in the engine, and I need to put some more oil in the transmission, but what I'll do is just show you what we got here. So I think the issues are over. I'm going to run it today. If it runs good all day today, then we'll be shipping it tomorrow, and it apparently takes about a month to get there. So I'll be making my tickets for about a month out. I want this thing to either be so close to the Turtle Inn when I arrive or at the Turtle Inn when I arrive. Right now, Dredd is doing a great job on doing the refinishing. He's got 5 coats on the side he's got the boat sanded, stained, bleached, stained, sealed with 2 coats of sealer, and 5 coats of varnish on it so far. Of course, it gets a minimum of 9 coats. So he's off working on today and tomorrow, I think. Or no, it was yesterday and today. He's working on getting a passport. He wants to come visit us at the shop, and he's working on getting a passport and a visa. And then let's see, what else was I going to mention? But anyway, and then he'll be back and he'll do his sanding, and he'll do 5 more coats, at least 4 more coats of varnish. And then he'll do another sanding, and he'll do a final. So that's about another week's worth of work. And then I'll work with him on getting the plywood cut, but not applied yet. I want to be there for the application. Also, want to make sure we get all the bolts changed. He can actually do that. My problem is my concern is he kind of cuts corners. So I'm afraid if I let him apply the bottom before I inspect, we won't have all the bolts replaced. I'm not sure. I might be sounding the alarm falsely, but then again, I'm in charge of this, and this thing that just concerns me. So at any rate, so the question on LDV, I'd say we got a couple months. We got a month of delay on this, getting this down there, and then we got several weeks of work down there, and then of course, and I got some other issues I got to solve. I got a big tub, one of these tubs, sitting in front of my desk, overfilled with the additional parts that we needed to handle the additional concerns that we found while there, and like the cables to the shifter, the cables to the throttle, the steering knuckles, the what else is in there? Yeah, so anyway, all of those issues will be resolved with the stuff that's in the bins, and that's going to take a little time getting those taken care of. We got to turn the boat back over, and then of course he's got to refinish the decks. So I figure we're a couple months out from today, something like that, at the earliest, and I'd say 3 months out from today at the latest. So hopefully this update works out well for you, and sorry for the lateness. My dad's been in the hospital for the last 2 weeks, and now he's in rehab, and it's sucking a lot of time away from the shop for me, and I want to handle this personally. So anyhow, to make sure there's no issues when I get to Belize, and if there are other issues that I created and not issues that somebody else created, because that just really pisses me off when somebody else creates me issues. Okay. We also replaced both the hoses on the transmission. They were actually down here. They were just all rusted up. We couldn't get the old ones off. We had to cut them off. So anyway, that's the long of it. I can't leave shortness. It just for some reason. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.